The shadows in our lives are gathering ever closer around us, but united together, we can face the darkness. Nasa ventus quartus, we adventure forth. The time has come to go, hunting the shadows. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am your humble host, Dennis Carroll, and this is episode 41 of Hunting the Shadows. Tonight is our special 2-hour seminar on Nephilim, the rise of the fallen. And this may very well be one of the most important seminars you will ever hear. And with that statement being made, let me flip my lid here. I'll take my hat off and settle in. Want to welcome everyone in the chat room coming in. Crystal, Ida, Shiro, Aussie Sue, Mary, and ever delightful Jessica. Hello, Jessica and John. And want to welcome you all gathering here tonight. David Lester and the girl and her gong. I appreciate you all being here. John Fortman, absolutely. This is going to be a very interesting, I think this is going to be one of the most unusual seminars you have ever attended. This is a very, very dark subject that we're going to go into tonight, and it covers many aspects of our world, of the world around us. And I'm going to say this at the beginning. I will definitely hold your questions for the end of the seminar, okay? For the last 30 minutes of the seminar, we're going to be answering questions, observations, interacting with you. And please be sure to put your questions, if you have any questions, in capital letters for me, okay? But we will definitely be doing that at the end of this seminar. Now, this seminar is going to have 12 chapters to it, okay? And they're short, okay? I don't want to scare you. They're short, okay? They're not long. But it's broken down into 12 chapters. And it makes that easier for me to assimilate it and for you too, okay? So I just wanted to tell you that too at the beginning. And since this is going to be a very dark subject that we are going into, we need to, I think, fortify ourselves spiritually going into this, okay? So let's say a little prayer of protection before we start, just to make sure that we've got that protection around us, okay? Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, I ask you tonight that you put a hedge of protection around every individual that's hearing my voice on this seminar tonight. I ask that you give them the protection of your holy angels, and that you put your shield around them, that you will touch their hearts, their souls, and their minds with the truth that we need to impart tonight. We ask this humbly in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay, I wanted to get that out of the way there and make sure that we're fully protected against this, because the darkness is not going to like what we're going to be talking about tonight, okay? And you know, there are a lot of people out there, just like my friend Jessica and a lot of other podcasts out there, that are dragging this darkness into the light. And it needs to be done. This is a good thing to do, because this darkness hides in the shadows of our lives and our very civilization, which is what we're going to be talking about tonight. And they have some very bad plans for us. And I want to say this at the beginning. The veil has thinned to where we can now see what waits beyond. And the future has arrived. Okay, it's not somewhere in tomorrow and the next few years. The future today has arrived. Okay, we need to understand that. And let me make this statement before I begin all of this, okay? If I should die or disappear under mysterious circumstances, no matter what they may be. Know this: I am not suicidal, nor have I any reason whatsoever to disappear or leave my home for any reason. I am mentally sound, and if this pertains in any way to my demise, bring into my case the best qualified investigators possible to look into my circumstances in a search to uncover the real truth. The forces of darkness do not like what we do, okay, but that's not going to stop us, okay? It never has in the past, and it definitely will not in the future, okay? I want to make that perfectly clear. And yes, this is a very dark subject, and when I think we're covered, so let us proceed with it. This is the seminar, and like I say, it has 12 chapters. Let me outline those chapters for you right quick. Chapter 1, our past history. Chapter 2, a giant problem. Chapter 3, a warped world. Chapter 4, enemies of nature. Chapter 5, the takeover. Chapter 6, insidious influence. Chapter 7, it's going to get personal. Chapter 8, uncovering the plan. Chapter 9, the day we lose control. Chapter 10, facing the final fate. Chapter 11, the beginning of the end. Chapter 12, fall of the fallen. Let me begin now with Chapter 1, our past history. Okay, and you know, I have had seminars before in the past talking about the Nephilim. And the Nephilim are definitely part of this, but they're not going to be the main focus tonight. Okay, the main focus tonight is on the fallen. And let me begin with this. And there was war in heaven, and Michael, the archangel, and the angels of God went up against Satan, that old dragon, the devil, the serpent, and his angels. And they were cast down like the stars of heaven and fell upon the earth. This happened many eons ago, and they are still here with us and have been with us since the very beginning. Now, let me say something about that description. That dragon, the devil's called a dragon. His minions, his fallen angels, who are now demons, the devils, have that appearance. That's their true nature and their appearance. Now, you've heard a lot of people talk about the reptilians being alien species. Well, these are aliens. They are definitely not citizens of Earth. But they have a celestial science, too, by the way. And we're going to be talking about that some tonight. But definitely, that's what their true nature is. If you can see what they really look like, it's horrible, by the way. It looks much more horrible than any reptilian you could ever think or imagine in your mind, because they have been corrupted completely spiritually. They have lost their perfection. They are no longer truly angels. They are demons. They are the fallen, okay? And they have lost their first estate. And they have come down to this. These were once very powerful beings. They've lost a lot of their power, but they still have their power. But their main power lies in their ability to deceive people. And that's one of their main power lines, okay, is their ability to deceive. They're very good at that, okay? And we have to understand that's how they operate. Now, these fallen, they are the sum of all fear, okay? They run through many areas of our civilization. Let me show you a quick little chart tonight and what we're going to be concerned with. There are 4 major kingdoms on this planet, okay? There's the kingdom of God, which also rules in the universe. The kingdom of man, the kingdom of nature, and the kingdom of the fallen. And the fallen runs through the kingdom of nature and man in its quest to take on the kingdom of God. That's the way this works, and that's the way it's stacked up. And the fallen use the kingdom of nature, and that's the animals. We're going to be talking about that tonight, the actual origin of some of these cryptids and some other things. that people talk about. We're going to be talking about that. And I got to lay this out for you because this is our past history. But when the fallen fell down to earth, they instituted a plan. They were still enemies of God. They're still enemies of the throne of heaven. They think they can still take it, but they're badly mistaken. Okay? But they are the enemies of God and all the angels in heaven and us, because we are part of the complex of God. Okay? Now, the fallen instituted a plan laid out by their leader to corrupt and destroy the creation of the Creator. And part of this plan, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, that's what a lot of the seminar is going to be about mainly. Part of this plan was to mess up the creation of God, and they would do that through the kingdom of nature, the natural order of things, and would also do it through the auspices of mankind. That's us. And they would do it through us as well. We are part of their plan, whether we want to be or not. We are part of their plan. We've got to remember that. It's very important. We are an essential part of their plan, because without our cooperation and without nature and some other things, they would not be able to do some of the things that they do. Now, look at the titles of their leader. Okay, he is the God of this world, the Lord of this world. He is also called the Prince of the power of the air, the very air around us. There is a scene in the Bible where he took Jesus up on a mountain and showed him the glories of the world, and all the cities and the richness of everything. And he said something very interesting. He said, all of this is mine. All of this is mine. You know, I will give it to you if you'll fall down and worship me. Of course, that was a lie. He never intended to do that. Of course, that's the way he operates. But you know what? Jesus did not argue with him. He knew that he already held these things. Why? Because this Satan, and Satan simply means adversary, we don't really know his real name. Nowhere in the Bible is his name actually given. We call him the nameless one. He does not have a name, although we have given him titles: Lucifer, Satan, Beelzebub, all these other things. We've given him titles: the devil, the dragon, but that's not his name. That's not his real name. There are hints in other things, and I'm not going to get into that tonight, that may tell his real name, but I'm not going to get into that. It's not necessary we know his name, but we do know him as Satan, the adversary. He is the enemy of everything good and wonderful in this universe. He is the hatred to love. He is the darkness to light. He is the complete opposite of heaven. Okay? We've got to remember that. And he is the adversary, the enemy. Okay? And he hates us because we are one of the epitomes of God's creation, if not the main epitome of God's creation. God loves us, therefore he hates us for that fact. But he is also called, and Jesus called him, a thief, a liar, and a murderer. The thief has stolen everything that belonged to God. All those cities and riches out there in that world, everything in this world belongs to God. That includes you and me, my friends. Everything. But it has been stolen from God. It has been taken by the devil and the fallen. And they have taken it for their own, and they hold it to this day. That's the main kingdom that I showed you. That's the kingdom of the fallen. Okay? I don't know, getting a little light on that. It's knocking it out, but that's the fallen. Okay? That's the kingdom that is ruling and in control of this world right now. Okay? And it goes along many lines. It even affects our weather. It affects our food chain. It affects us. And that's why one of my chapters is called It's Going to Get Personal. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. It's going to come down to you and a one-on-one battle with the forces of darkness. Okay? We got to remember that. Now, this is our history with the fallen. And they have been with us from the beginning and will be with us until the very end. They are our enemies. They have stolen everything we could have had. We could have had a much more great, wonderful, beautiful society around us right now if they hadn't stolen that from us. They stole not only from God, they stole it from us. And they steal from the kingdom of nature as well. Look at the pain and trauma that nature goes through to be born and to die, and the hunting and the killing that goes on in that. It was not meant to be that way at the beginning, my friends. It was not meant to be that way. But it has been changed for the bad, not the good. It has been stolen by the fallen. They have stolen everything on this planet. They're in control. They run our banks. They run our military. They run our schools, even our churches. They run every aspect, our media, our governments of the world, everything they are in control of. They have their agents everywhere. I don't doubt without a bit for one moment that there are not fallen angels sitting in CEO chairs in corporations in this world. Without a doubt, they are there. They are everywhere. Now, there are some books that say there were 200 main fallen angels. These were the most powerful. Let me say something about these fallen angels. They are very powerful beings. One angel could destroy this whole planet in the blink of an eye. Why are they so powerful? Because true angels, not the fallen angels, the true angels of heaven channel the power of God. Okay, you got to remember that. The most powerful power in the universe, they channel that. They can use that. They're hooked into it, but not the fallen. Like I said, they have lost a lot of their power. They have been corrupted. They have lost their first estate. They will never again obtain that power. They're too dangerous to let that happen. There is a line drawn that they cannot cross over. And our Creator has drawn that line. And He draws that line throughout the universe and throughout our lives. We would not be here if it were not for that line that holds back the darkness of the fallen. Okay, we've got to remember that. Now, the fallen, in their plan to mess up the creation of the Creator, definitely did it in many different ways. They did it through DNA. And what was the main way they did that? They procreated with human women. And the human women had the offspring, which are called the Nephilim. The Nephilim were giants, okay? You hear about these. You know, I was just watching the other day. There's I think a Chinese basketball player, a lady, Chinese lady. She's 7'3". Think about that a minute, folks. 7'3". That's nothing compared to what the true giants of the Nephilim were. And that DNA still exists to this day in the ancient bloodlines of some families that live on this planet, okay? That reptilian bloodline, if that's what you want to call it, and they were very reptilian in that respect, still exists to this day in certain families that are on this planet, okay? We're going to talk about that a little bit more later. But anyway, it was a giant problem. Chapter 2, the giant problem. This race of giants that were born out of the procreation of fallen angels and women were monsters, okay? They didn't look like the Jolly Green Giant. They didn't look like happy-go-lucky fellows. No, this was a race of monsters because it was the corruption of creation. That's the way this true evil works. It corrupts. When evil corrupts you, my friends, it changes you drastically from the inside out. You've got to remember that. That's the way evil works. That's the way these demonic forces are working. Have you noticed, just in the last few years, that you were doing and thinking thoughts, doing things you never thought you would do before, using language that you thought you would never use before? This is the demonic influence that is in our world, and we must guard against it because these forces, let me say this, and I can't stress it enough, are seeking to twist and warp our very spiritual nature. Okay? And we've got to be on sort of a very high vibrational level here spiritually to push back against this. Okay? We've got to understand that. this consciousness, this semi-consciousness thing that's going on, is bombarding us 24/7. Okay, it is the most insidious type of brainwashing that was ever developed. Okay, and that's what's going on around us through our media, through the pop stars, through the sports, through the movies, everything, every which way you look. We've got to understand that. And what I said before, the people who are the shadow hunters, just like I said about my friend Jessica and some of these other, and my friend Gerald, some of these other people that have the podcast and everything, they are trying to push back against this. They are doing shadow work, but they're not doing the bad kind of shadow work. I call it hunting the shadows because they are bringing the shadows out into the light. They are bringing this darkness out into the light. And when that happens, that helps to destroy that darkness. It definitely immaculates that darkness. Okay? Absolutely. It doesn't, the darkness does not like that because they want to operate, they want to act subliminally against you to twist and warp and corrupt your spirit. That's the way they operate. That's what happened with the Nephilim, this race of monsters that were born. And let me say this is not nice to think about. They weren't born naturally like you and I were. They broke out of their mother's wombs. They came out violently. They killed their mothers when they did. This is nothing good here, folks. Okay, this is bad, awful stuff going on. And this happened, and this race was an enemy of mankind. And it is said that back in the book of Genesis, that the very spiritual state of the world, thanks not only to the corruption of the fallen and these giants that were around, not only that, but it corrupted man's spirit as well, and also turned nature against us. This was going to happen again. This is in our future, okay? We're going to talk about that too in a little while. But let me say this. God looked down upon the earth and saw, listen to this statement, that every thought of man was continuously evil. There was no good left in us. We were twisted and warped. So we became what? Monsters too. Although we weren't giants, we were just like the monsters that inhabited this world. This world was turned into a monstrosity. Even the very nature of this world was corrupted. And that's where you get, I think, a lot of the cryptids. Not only did the fallen angels experiment with human women, but they also hybridized with animals. That includes apes, wolves, whatever the situation. I believe without a doubt that the true origin of a lot of these cryptids that are out there, and I do know they exist, came about because of the actions of the fallen and the Nephilim. Okay, that was definitely part and still is part of the plan. And today, and when I talk about this in a little bit about the government and all that stuff, you're going to see how that figures into that. But we'll be getting back to that in a little while. Number 3, a warped world. And that's what happened. A warped world. The torn fabric of the world. Okay? Not only has the imperfection of perfection taken place here, nature's not running like it's supposed to. It's still not. It was not set up this way, okay? It is still going in wrong, but it's going to get worse. And as the time unfolds and the plan continues, the very nature around us is going to turn on us. Animals will act different. Things will happen. I'm not going to get deep into that tonight, but you will see things you would have never thought possible in the animal and kingdoms of nature. You're going to see storms that have never been seen before. You're going to see earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. You're going to see things when nature turns against us that are going to be horrible to behold. Trust me. This is our part of our future. This is what's coming up ahead. That's why I say this is a very, very dark subject. There's nothing happy about this, okay? There's nothing good in this, all right? So we got to remember that's part of the future that's being laid out for us according to the way this plan of the fallen It's being instigated. And they are making this a warped world. And like I said, it's not just animals and nature. It's not the governments of this world. It's not the CIA. It's not all these other things. It's not only that alone. They're attacking us personally, individually, day in and day out. They're trying to start on us through our mental capacities, through our emotions, through our physical way. Yeah, we're being corrupted physically by the food and the very environment around us. We are being corrupted. The creation of God is being warped and twisted by this effort. Don't you understand? And we're part of that creation. We're victim to it too. Okay, and we've got to understand that. And not only that, they are attacking us spiritually as well. Because the main thing that you have, let me tell you this, okay? One day you're going to have to die and you're going to have to put this meat jacket down. Okay, hopefully that's a long day, ways off. But one day that's going to happen. Now, the most important thing, my friends, that you possess, no matter what you got, and I don't care how much, what kind of riches you got, how many cars you got in the garage, how many houses you own in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, I don't care what you got. The most important thing that you own is your soul. Okay? You got to remember that. And these things are after your soul. Okay? And I'll say this, and I'll talk about this some more later. The battleground for your soul, the battle for your soul has begun. And the battleground for your soul is your heart and your mind, because they're all hooked together, folks. Okay? You don't get one without the other. Okay? That's just the way that goes. Now, you got to remember this. This insidious lambasting that's going on day in, day out has a cause and a reason behind it. Okay? And we've got to guard ourselves against it, because that's where the battleground is, the human heart. And that's where the greatest battle for our souls is going to be fought. But there's also going to be a war going on at the same time. Okay? In this whole world around us, in the creation around us, okay? Because it's going to come down to that. But only our Creator can fight and win that war, not us. Because this is greater than we are, don't you understand? This is a greater spiritual battle than we are capable of fighting in that respect. He is the one that will win the battle. He is the one who will toe the line. He's the one that will do what needs to be done. We're not going to be ones. No president elected, no king, no army, no one will be able to stand against this. But take a look at this little representation. Now, I know they don't actually probably look like that, but that's what's standing waiting for orders to move out to help us when it comes down to the end. That's what's gonna win this war. Not us, okay? And not no government, nobody. We're not going to be able to brag on that, definitely, because we're not going to be the ones that do it. This war is going to be fought for us, but the battlegrounds for our souls are hours and hours alone. You know, I think I said on the show recently about souls. You can give your soul away. You can sell your soul if you want to call it that. Is sort of a transaction. But nobody else can give your soul away for you. Nobody else can take your soul. You have to willingly give it up. That's the way souls are. That's the true freedom. The last echelon of freedom that you have is over your own soul. And what did Jesus say? What should it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul? What a terrible retribution that will be. Because once you've lost that, my friends, you don't get it back. Usually. I mean, there's usually no way to get that back. Once you've lost it, it's usually gone for good, because you are gone. You have gone past that point of no return, and we must guard against that in our lives, especially in our spiritual outlook, against reaching that point of no return. Number 4, chapter 4, enemies of nature. Okay, I'm going to talk about that a little bit, about the cryptids and all that. All these things that have been twisted by the fallen. They're weird experiments that they have. The ability to take on the, like they're actually some kind of aliens. A lot of that is just an image, okay? And we're going to be talking about a little bit more about that in just a minute. These are not your space brothers, my friends, okay? They're not coming from outer space. Nobody is coming to save us. I got some bad news for you. Nobody's coming to save us but God. That's it, okay? He's the only one that's going to wrap up this ball of wax, okay? He's the only one that's going to do it. It's not going to be some outer space brothers from some other planet, okay? Why would they do that anyway? I mean, if you ever you've got to look at the motives of some of these things behind it. A lot of these so-called alien abductions and all that, and I'm not going to get into that tonight, but we are definitely going to have to address that in the future. But a lot of this stuff is imagery. Don't fall for what you see or what you think is something else. They are misrepresenting themselves for a reason. Okay? They are doing things for a reason. You got to look at the origin and beginning of things to understand. Try to understand what's going on. So don't buy a lot of things that you see because it's not necessarily the truth. Remember what I said earlier in this seminar? The power of the fallen is in their ability to deceive. Their language is lies. They're all about false imagery, my friends. Okay? You got to remember that. You got to remember that. It's very important. And one of the powers of the devil, absolutely, is that some people will not believe in him. He likes that, but he is just as real as you and I guarantee you that. But his power lies in the fact that a lot of people don't believe. They think he's a fairy tale. They don't believe that. I've even had ministers tell me, oh, I don't believe in a personal devil. I don't believe there's a personal devil. Well, my friends, he believes in you. He knows that you exist, and he does exist in that form. He was a fallen angel. He was the chief angel in heaven. He was the number one, and he talked a third of the angels into going with him. He's pretty slick in my book. If he can do that, you can definitely, your best con artist that ever walked. Okay, you're it. You're number one. If you can talk angels out of heaven, you're pretty good at doing that in my book. Okay, absolutely. Although it wasn't good. But anyway, that's the takeover. Number 5, the takeover. Now, taking over and getting in, and like I've said this before, the government's in bed with these forces. The industry in this world is in bed with the forces. The military, everybody down the line, the church, everybody's in bed with the demonic here, folks. Okay, that's what they are. I'll just lay it out plain for you. Everybody's been corrupted by them. Nothing that you're going to see, and that includes the kindergarten. Look at all these other things that's going on in schools today. Every bit of this is part of the insidious plan of the fallen. Okay, you got to remember that. They always go back to the plan. Their plan is just clicking along, just like a well-oiled machine, because it is. And they're doing everything they can possibly to make sure that plan succeeds. We need to be enemies of that plan. Don't you understand? We need that because they're doing the takeover here. That's chapter 5 of this, the takeover. They're trying to worm their way into every aspect of our society and have very well succeeded in that. That includes industry, the military-industrial complex. The name goes on and on and on and on and on. Okay, the names are a long list. Then goes into the media. That goes into entertainment. Every aspect of it. They're there. I have seen them. I have seen the evidence in every bit of it. It's very rare that you don't find the evidence for it. Put it that way, okay? It's very rare that you don't find the evidence. And you've got to understand what these guys are up to and the insidious way they go about it. And absolutely, there are certain people higher up, for we labor not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual darkness, folks, okay? In high places. They're everywhere. And there are certain people in our government walking around who are really probably not even human. I'm going to tell you this. A lot of people you see in circumstances, and a lot of times they give themselves away because what's on the inside, trust me, my friend, what's on the inside, whether it be good or evil, and evil is very bad about this, will eventually show up on the outside, whether it be in their foul language or their foul mindset or their evil ways or their imagery and their looks and their eyes. The eyes truly are the windows of the soul. Watch the eyes whenever you talk to someone. Okay, watch their eyes closely. It will tell you a lot of things. I do. I watch the eyes very carefully because that tells you what kind of really true person you're dealing with. They can hide, they can put off a false imagery, but they can never ever actually completely cover what they truly are. And we've got to remember that. And there are people out there walking the streets right now that are not people, my friends. They are demons. I won't say demons from hell, but let me say what Shakespeare said. Shakespeare said, hell is empty. The demons are here. They're not in hell. They're up here with us. Okay? That's where they're at. And unfortunately, they're up here with us. That's for true. But that's the takeover. That's what they're at. They're out to taking over everything. The prince of the power of the air, the very air you breathe. They're taking over your environment every way you look at it, and that includes nature, the kingdom of nature as well. There are animals that are not acting true to their nature. There are things of nature that are warped and twisted. There's a lot of wild stuff going on in this world, and we need to open our eyes spiritually to try to discern and see these things for what they truly are. Because our lives, our souls, the people we care about and love, the children and our children's children, this is important for them because this is threatening them. What a terrible world, what an awful legacy they have ahead of them if we're not careful. We have to open our spiritual eyes to this, okay? Number 6, we're getting into the insidious influence, okay? And like I said, have you started thinking thoughts that you never thought before? Are you finding yourself becoming more of an evil persuasion? Or you liking things that are evil and disgusting, and now you're having horrible nightmares that are violent, and your spirit feels strange and unusual. There are things going on around you, and yes, even paranormal activity sometimes. You may be falling under an insidious influence. Absolutely, and you don't want to do that because the insidious influence begins that way. It begins to slowly work its way into your life by letting down your guard. You let these things in. You're inviting them in, whether you know it or not sometimes. And just like, I was talking about on my good friend show, Jessica, today, we're talking about conjuring up some of these things. And the rituals they use in these things, even just listening and watching these rituals makes you a participant of it. And they know that. And some of that dark spiritual energy falls out on you. There's a fallout here, folks, a spiritual fallout going on in this world. And this insidious influence is just the beginning. I'm not going to get into that tonight, but it's just the beginning of possession. You got to understand that. It is just the very beginning of actual, true, 100% possession. And we've got to be very careful about that. Number 7. It's going to get personal. And what did I say just a few minutes ago? The battle is coming down to you and to me. And you may say tonight, well, Dennis, how can I fight this? How am I going to be able to fight against this darkness? It begins here in the human heart, my friends. Okay? And we've got to try to fill this human heart with the one thing this insidious evil hates most of all. Love. Love for not just us, love for our fellow man. We don't have to just love our children and our animals. We need to love everybody unconditionally, okay? We need to have that love of God in us to combat this darkness and this insidious power that's coming against us. And it begins here in the human heart. You must surrender yourself to the goodness, my friends, and ask that goodness into your life. You have to let that spirit of goodness, that spirit of holiness into your life to fight against this. And where there is that light and love, there can be no hatred and darkness. Okay? And the more light and love you let into your life, the stronger spiritually you will be. Okay? You must understand that. And that's the way that's going to get. It's going to get personal. It's already got personal. Okay? These forces are coming up against you. You're not going to be left out. They're not going to skip you. They're not going to forget about you. Oh, no. They know your name. They've got your address. They know where you live. I know they know where I live. They jump on me a lot. They're going to come after you. And if they don't come after you, there's something bad wrong. Okay? They've already got you. Okay? If they're not giving you a hard time, if they're not fighting you, if they're not proactively attacking you, there's something wrong. You better question yourself. You better find out what's going wrong, because evidently there's something bad wrong if they're not fighting you. Okay? Because this is a personal battle, my friends. Okay? But don't worry. You have help. You have help that is ever there waiting for you. All you've got to do is ask for it. All you've got to do is accept it, and you will be strengthened beyond anything you can imagine. But you've also got to have your heart set open wide to love and light. Okay? That's very important that you remember that. Number 8, uncovering the plan. Now, we've talked about what the plan is, but this plan is so intricate, it would take hours and hours for me to lay out even just a little bit of this plan, because it goes into every aspect of our lives, no matter what they may be, even the very food that we eat, the water that we drink. Nothing is what it should be. You understand? Nothing is what it should be in this world. It's been twisted, warped, and changed for the bad, not the good. We've got to understand that. That is the main goal of this plan, is one thing and one thing only. That is our absolute and complete destruction, my friends. Okay? You're not going to be able to make surrender to the forces of darkness and think you're going to get a good deal out of that. You're not. It's not going to work that way. You're not going to be able to live and get along with this. No, it's not going to work that way. That's not what the plan's about. The plan is for your absolute, complete spiritual destruction. And it includes your physical, mental, and emotional destruction as well, because those are the elements that make you a living soul. Okay? That's what makes you a living soul. And this plan is the very enemy of your soul. Don't forget that. Forget about it, God's enemy. We know it's God's enemy, but it's your enemy too. Don't you understand that? Whether you realize it or not. You better think about that, because that's how you uncover the plan. And you can see the plan if you open those spiritual eyes and begin to discern things, study and research and understand. Try to keep your mind where it needs to be, and forget about all these weird New Age philosophies that tell you nothing but lies and lead you away from the real truth of this matter. Okay? Forget about that. That's part of the plan, by the way. These New Age philosophies and teachings and all this real high transcendental spiritual stuff that they're trying to feed you folks is nothing but a bunch of crap. Okay? I hate to say that, but that's what it is. It's a bunch of lies wrapped up in a pretty package to try to get you to believe it, because it is what is the enemy of the truth, my friends. It's the lies. Lies, rumors, innuendo, false teaching. All of this is nothing but the lies of the truth. The enemies of the truth. That's what they are, the enemies of truth and light. And that's what their plan is all about. The plan is so far-reaching. We've got to understand that it is everywhere around us constantly. We've got to have help. We've got to have spiritual help against this. And the only true spiritual help comes from your Creator. You've got to remember that. Forget about all these weird New Age philosophies and all this other stuff. These are the teachings of demons. Without a doubt. I'm not going to get into that tonight. That's a whole other seminar by itself. But the teaching of demons are out there. And some of these are so-called supposed to be mainstream religions too, by the way, folks. These are nothing but false doctrines to lead you astray down the road to hell, not the road to the truth, my friends. Okay? We got to remember that. Number 9, the day we lose control. And that day is coming very quickly upon us. What do you mean? We've got a little bit of control left in this world right now, just a little bit. But this will be part of their plan, is to destroy our individual freedom. Because these are the enemies of freedom, my friends. They're the proponents of slavery, spiritual slavery, and physical slavery as well. This is coming. The day is coming when you're going to lose control of your rights. Your God-given rights. You remember I told you that before in the past? Donald Trump or Joe Biden didn't give you your rights. Thomas Jefferson and George Washington didn't give you your rights. Nobody on this planet gave you your human rights but your Creator. Got to remember that. It's very important that you remember that. But they can be taken away if you give them away, or the certain forces are going to try to take them away from you. These are gifts from your Creator to make you and have a better and happier life. They're going to take that. You're going to lose control over that one day very soon. Your freedoms are going to be taken from you. The freedom to stay, and it's coming down to that now. The freedom to say what you want to say, or the freedom to say things, or even to speak the truth against the darkness. That freedom is going to be taken from you, my friends. Your rights are going to be under fire. And they already are. I'm going to be under more intense fire coming very soon. Just wait and see. You'll see what I'm saying. And if you never see or hear from me again after today, don't you forget any of this, because you're going to see what takes place very soon. Okay? Number 10, facing the final fate. Okay? The outcome is inevitable. Okay? The outcome is inevitable. The fate of these forces, these evil forces, has already been preordained. There's a place waiting for them, a place of eternal punishment that has no end. Okay? There's a place waiting for them. But if you throw your cast in with them, if you cast your lot in with them, if you sell over to them, if you sell your soul to the darkness, my friends, you're going to share in the same fate that the fallen have waiting for them. And listen, this is a terrible fate. You do not want to share. Nothing is worth it. No power, no money, no riches, no glory. Nothing is worth this fate that they will have. Let me say this. There are two sides to the fence, my friends. There's two sides. There's the side of the good and the side of the bad. You can't sit on the fence long, because I got bad news for you. The fallen owns the fence too, okay? They own the fence too. You can't sit on the fence long. You better go down on one side or the other. You're going to have to make your choice. That time is coming now for you to make your choice. What side of that fence you're going down on, but you can't stay on that fence forever, because that fence belongs to the fallen, okay? It's not a neutral no man's land. It's not that way. You're not going to be able to sit there long. But that is their final fate that they are facing. Eternal damnation. That's a horrible thing to think about. Suffering and pain. And I'm not just talking about physical pain. I'm talking spiritual pain here, folks, that will never die. You are cast into an outer darkness. And the worst thing of all is you've lost touch, absolute touch with your Creator. No matter what you do day in and day out, the life that you live, the things that you do, you are still under the grace of your Creator. You wouldn't be here without that. Okay, my friends, trust me. I know what I'm talking about, because I have felt that grace. I have known that grace in my life. You are under the grace of Almighty God. Without that, you would not survive. Not 1 minute on this planet, you would not survive. But when you're cast into this place, that grace is gone. That connection is cut forever. You have no hope. You know, that's what they say is written on the gates going into the hell. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. There is no hope and the end of that place. That's a terrible fate to think about. Number 11, the beginning of the end. You can only end one way. Okay, and like I said earlier, we're not going to be the ones that propagate the end. We're not going to be ones that win this celestial war that's going to be here on earth with us. Let me say something about the fallen. I'm going to talk a little bit about them, their nature here. I'm sure without a doubt, they don't look like what, typical pictures of the angels or fallen angels we have. Like I said before, their image is very terrible, their true image. But they will often appear as angels of light. Definitely try to fool you. Like I said, it's all in the imagery. It's all about the image. Okay. And I believe without a doubt that they have celestial mechanics. I believe they are highly more advanced. I believe they have given us some of their dark science and their dark philosophies. They have given us a lot of bad gifts. They're not good gifts, folks. These were bad gifts that have led mankind astray over the years. I'm not going to get into that tonight. That's a seminar for another time. But they have done that. They have corrupted humanity as much as possible, and it's an ongoing corruption that is going to only end in our complete destruction. That's what it's all about. And the beginning of the end has already started. I can see it in so many ways around us. I've had so many people come up to me. People know it. They feel it in their spirit that there's something coming. Something not good is coming, evidently. And we have seen pieces of prophecy that we know are to be fulfilled. There's even parts about this world is going to be hit by an asteroid. Okay? Sooner or later, we know that's going to happen. And that's part of this prophecy, folks. This world is going to be hit with an asteroid. Things are going to go bad. It's going to go downhill. It's the beginning of the end. And where did the beginning of the end start? It started yesterday. Okay? Yeah, I'm afraid to say that, but I'm afraid it started yesterday. Some good many yesterdays ago. But it's already started. And only thing ahead now is the end. And we got to understand that. And we've got to also understand that this is like a curse on humanity. And this curse is not just running through fifth or seventh generation of our bloodline, but it's running through every aspect of our bloodlines. Why do you think there was a certain bloodline that was kept unpolluted down through history? Why was it done that way? There was a reason for that. Because the DNA of the world had been corrupted by the fallen, but one bloodline was left uncorrupted. And a man came out of that who was also the Son of God. He came out of that bloodline for a reason. But that bloodline was kept from corruption by what the fallen have done to this world. Okay? And that is why the Bible says we have all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. We are not like that bloodline that he came out of for a reason. But he came out to be the only one who was without sin. We are not. Okay, but that bloodline was very important to be kept uncorrupted. Okay. Number 12, the fall of the fallen. Be careful with whom you cast your lot. Okay, because the fallen are going to fall. They're rising now. They're rising to the height of their power. It's coming up in the days and months ahead of us. You will see them obtaining more and more and more power. They're rising, but the day is coming, my friends, where they're going to fall, and they're going to fall for the last time. Okay? They're going to fall for the last time, and that's going to be the end of them. Don't you fall with them. Okay? If you fall in with them, you're going to fall with them when they fall. Okay, let me say that again. If you fall in with them, you're going to fall with them when they fall. That's just the way that's going to go. Okay, and we got to remember that. And their dark magic that they have, if you want to call it that, is an ancient magic, and it's being fused with the technology of their dark science. Our science is being corrupted by this. Okay, and it's into a modern new age alchemy that's going on around us. A lot of that is part of the technical aspects of this. And I think that's where a lot of UFO technology goes into a lot of this stuff. I call them celestial mechanics. Okay. I'm going to have another seminar very soon talking about nothing but UFOs and what the imagery and all that stuff is about. But, and like I'm going to have to do one about cryptids for some people too, I'm afraid. Anyway, they that is part of the equation that's going on. But let me say this. Look at this little statement right here. The time is coming when everything that is covered up will be revealed, and all that is secret will be made known to all. Whatever you have said in the dark will be heard in the light, and what you have whispered behind closed doors will be shouted from the housetops for all to hear. The day is coming when all these insidious dark secrets are going to be revealed. The power is going to be taken away from the power of the secrets is their secrecy, their darkness, their hidden nature. But that's going to be taken from them. That's the power of the fallen. There's a lot of their occult secrets and their hidden knowledge and stuff. That's their power for now, folks, but that's going to be taken away from them. And everything that is hidden and secret in this world, one day, very soon, is going to be revealed. And we got to understand that. God's going to uncover everything that's hidden. But in the meantime, look at where the hatred is aimed and by who. Because these forces of darkness use hatred, my friends, not only against us, but with our cooperation. They want to use us to hate on other people and to hate things and to divide us and section us off from each other's and get us to hate and have jealousy and be corrupt against each other. That's what they want. They want to turn us like wild animals against each other. That's what they're up to. Okay, and we've got to take that away from them. That's why I say you've got to bring in that light and love. Okay, that's very important because that will take care of this hatred. But look in this world today where the hatred is being directed. Look very closely where it's coming from and where it's going. Where's the money coming from and where it's going? Where's the power coming from and where it's going? Look at where everything's going, folks. Where it's coming from and where it's going. It's very important. It will tell you a lot of things. Like we said, I said that today on Jessica's show. You got to look at the patterns and connect the dots. That's very important that you do that. That's the way we learn things. That's the way we do true investigative research. Okay? Look at where that hatred is coming from and where it's going. Who are they hating the most? And I'm going to tell you this. If they really, really hate somebody, for all the wrong reasons especially, I'm going to look at that person and say, maybe they're doing something right, Maybe they're where they need to be. Okay? Let me show you one more little image here. What is that? That is a molecule in you, put in you by your creator, that holds your cells and atoms together. Look at that. What does that look like? That's not by happenstance, folks. That's by design. Okay? And you are the most wonderful thing that God has ever created. Why am I taking a chance with this? Why am I putting my own life on the line and I'm trying to tell you a little bit about this? Because I think you're worth it. Each and every single one of you are worth it. Okay? Understand that. And you got to know, too, the fallen are your enemy as well as mine. Okay? And we've got to know that. We've got to know that. And true, there are no coincidences in this world. Everything is being done by design, just like this plan I've talked to you about tonight, the plan of the fallen and the rise of the fallen that's going on in the world around us right now. I've had people come to me for the last few weeks saying, why is this rise in paranormal activity going on? Why are these so many people being possessed by demons? Why do we need so many teams of exorcists coming out there? Why do we need this? Why is this going on? Why am I seeing more shadows in my life? I'll tell you why. It's the rise of the fallen. That's what it is. It's been helped along by things like CERN and the experiments they've done and the weird experiments that mankind has done and some of the governmental things that are going on in secret. Because, like I said before, they are in league with the fallen. The fallen are the puppet masters, and they're just the puppets. Okay, we're all just the puppets if you look at it that way, because they are the puppet masters right now. But one day, their strings will be cutting, and that's what you got to do. And remember this, and I'm going to read this to you. Okay, the influenced and infected world is not only chipping away at your morals, but this nefarious brainwashing is twisting you spiritually as well. We need to retain a higher level of consciousness and vibrational spirituality in our lives. This will safeguard our physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional well being. We do not need to be found guilty by association with the dark powers that hold sway in this world and are the very evil and dangerous enemies of truth and humanity. Let your last words, if necessary, be, my friends, I did not cooperate. That is how we will not participate in the rise of the fallen. My seminar now is at an end, and I appreciate you listening. And now I will take your observation, and I will also take your questions, and we'll see what we've got going on here in the chat room. Okay. Hello, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Good to have you here, my brother. Always good to have you aboard. And I hope that you all have learned a little bit of something from the seminar tonight and understand what we are facing as mankind. We are facing in this world that is all around us. Okay. And it has touched every aspect of everything. That includes UFOlogy, cryptozoology, spirituality, earth mysteries, the whole works. There are a lot of designs, nefarious designs behind this. Okay. I think Millie Pride says, I think many are awakening new gifts to help us move forward. I think we are going to be given by our Creator, and we're going to be given help in many ways that we don't even dream possible right now. Okay? Because, like I have said before, and I know this has been a very dark subject, but we've got to understand as much evil and insidious, awful stuff is going on out there, my friends. Know this, there is much, much more goodness at work as well, okay? And we've got to understand that. That's what's going on out there. We've got help for us out there in the world, okay? And it's helping us in more ways than we'll probably ever know. And it's as true as the saying that evil lurks in the shadows. Yes, evil lives in the shadows. That's the way it operates. But, more we're seeing more, and we're being allowed to see more and more of the true nature of this evil. You're seeing it with a lot of these pop singers and the rituals they're doing on stages, and a lot of these movies that are coming out, a lot of these video games, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. We're starting to see what people really look like. Okay? Keep your eyes open. You're going to see things that's going to blow your mind. But you got to keep those spiritual eyes open. Donna Spencer says, I was reading the slits in their eyes. Yeah, you will see things. You're going to see their true nature come forward, okay? Because these are demonic entities, my friends, okay? John Fulton, again, all we have to decide is what to do with the time that's given us. Well, absolutely. We are given time. We are given time, and we're going to be given time. And look, let me say this, okay? Our Creator is not going to forsake us. He is a merciful person. He is a merciful entity. Until the very end, He will extend His mercy upon us. But we have to accept that. That's our part of the job, okay? He's not going to force it on us. We have to accept that. And that's what I mean by letting that light and love in your heart. You got to let that spirit of light and love in your heart, okay? to be able to combat that. Soft disclosures everywhere on TV shows. And I believe, Girl Gone, I think our Creator is allowing that to happen so that we can see. So we're not going to be fooled. Look, okay, let me say this. No matter how insidious and deceitful evil is, our Creator always gives us a heads up on it. That's just the way He works. And that's the wonderful thing about Him. He's looking out for us, even when we don't know that, okay? He's looking out for us in many, many ways that we don't understand. But we need to open our eyes to that, though. We have to hook up to that connection. Dark times, dark warning. Times it feels like we're all sitting in the council of yeah, I hear you. There you go. But yeah, it's. I think some of this stuff. Like I say, evil. The one thing you can always depend on evil to do. Okay, it will always overplay its hand. It shows itself in the end. It can't help that. That's just the weird nature. That's just the way it is. But you got to watch for it, and you got to have a discerning spiritual eye on it. Okay, that's important. Dave Spanner says it's our choice to be deceived. Sometimes we want to be deceived. How stupid that is, but that's the way it goes. We want to believe something because that's just the way we feel that it should be. But we don't understand that it's wrong, and it's very deceitful, and it could destroy us. We need to understand and see the real truth for what it truly is. That's why I warn against a lot of these weird New Age philosophies and all this bunch of junk and all this other stuff that people believe. Don't buy the lie, okay? Don't buy the lie. And that's what it works on pride. We're celebrating pride now. That's one of the 7 deadly sins, folks. Okay? Why are we doing that? Look at how this world is going. We're going downhill fast because the fallen are rising. They're rising in power and influence around us. And we've got to understand they are our enemies. There's not one thing they're going to do good for us. Evil does not do good because true good does not do evil. That's just the way it works. You got to understand that law of the universe. Okay? It's very important. We do what we are called and gifted to do. Yeah. Well, you will be given stuff to do what you need to do. Pride comes before fall. It always does. That's what got the fall, okay? That's what it was. They still think that they're going to win this battle. They think they're going to storm the gates of heaven and take the throne away from God. But that ain't going to happen, folks. I've read the book. It don't go that way. Okay? It's not going to happen. Juno says, Dennis, I get attacked on a daily basis. Well, you know what Jesus said in the Bible? Whenever you get attacked, when they knock you down on the ground, don't lay there and moan and groan. Oh, how pitiful I am. Don't do that. No. You get up. You wipe your face off and you smile because you are exactly where you need to be. You are doing exactly what you need to do. Remember that. It's a very important spiritual concept. What about a lot of these mediums who believe their gifts come from God? They've been deceived. They've been deceived. And as Shakespeare said, to thy own self be true. The worst thing you can ever do is to lie to yourself. But some of these people want to be deceived. Don't you understand? That's what they want. And they don't understand they're being used worse than a doormat, okay? They're being used by the forces of darkness. They're being fooled and deceived. The wool's being pulled over, whatever metaphor you want to use. That's what's being done to them, and they're being deceived, and they don't understand. You know what? Here's the bad thing about being deceived. You're so stupid when you're being deceived that you don't realize that you're being deceived. That's how stupid things get, okay? And I've always said ignorance has an excuse. You just didn't know any better. Stupidity has no excuse. It has no excuse. It won't hold up nowhere, folks, okay? And folks who can see things and not change with the help, yeah. God has given us gifts. And I'm not talking about a lot of this fake psychic stuff here. Okay, I'm not talking about that. And some of these gifts, you better know where your gift's coming from, though. Okay, you got to understand if you're using your gift for good or you're using your gift for bad, it's the intention behind it, folks, that reveals the real story. Okay, and if you're using your gifts that God has given you for good, then everything's okay. But if you're using gifts that are given you by the other guys for bad stuff, God don't give you bad gifts, okay? But if you're getting bad, you're using that the wrong way, you're working for the wrong team, okay? I got to hand you that. But I have known some psychics who are really fakes, okay? There's a lot of that goes on too, but hey, they're working for the bad guys too. They don't realize that, but they're working for the bad team as well. Get on the good team. When you're on the good team and your heart is right where it needs to be, you're not being deceived. You're working for the good guys. You're working on the good team, okay? Let me tell you a quick story. There's a thing in the Bible where Jesus was standing with his disciples one day, and one of the disciples come up and said, Lord, there's a group of people over there, and they're casting out. They're not with us, but they're casting out demons in your name, but they're not with us. Jesus said, leave them alone. If they're not against us, they're for us. Okay? So, what team are you on? That's what you got to ask. Let's see. Spain his name for those attacking you to be bound. Thank you. And that's a good thing for that. Let's put that up for Juno to see. And evil will use our family against us. I know my sister's trying to get me to give them the. Oh, yeah. Let me say this, okay? And a lot of people know this well. I've had to experience this myself, okay? Without a doubt, the forces of darkness, the fallen I'm talking about, will send agents of evil into your life. I'm not talking about demonic evil. I'm talking about humans. But they are agents of evil. They may be demon-possessed people falling. There's something going on because they've sold out to the wrong team that I was talking about earlier. They are agents of evil. They will come into your life to destroy your life, destroy you, destroy your spirit, and try to fool you, deceive you. Whatever the situation is, you got to understand there are agents of human evil out there. They will come in, and we've all had those come into our lives at one time or another. We've all been touched that way. Get away from those people. Cut those people off. You do not need that in your life. God doesn't want you to deal with people like that. Because they have been sent for one reason alone, my friend, to destroy you. You got to understand that. Destruction is their intent. Your destruction. And, some people marry people like that. I got a quick joke, about the guy that, they were all in church one day, They were all in church one day getting ready for a service, and all of a sudden the devil appeared right in front of them. Everybody screamed, started panicking. They ran out of the church, except one old man was left sitting on the pew. And the devil walked up to him and said, hey, don't you know who I am? And the guy said, yeah, you're the devil. And he said, well, aren't you scared? Aren't you scared of me, son? I'm the devil. He said, no, I've been married to your sister for 40 years. But that's the way that goes, okay? Some people marry these agents of evil, okay? That's the way that goes, I'm afraid. Well, thank you, Wizard Moon. I appreciate that. Okay. There you go. Claim your land for the Lord. They won't take it from you. Give some, whatever you got. Let me say this. If you got something that you really, feel that you deserve, and it's not, you didn't get it the wrong way and all that stuff, there's extenuating circumstances. But if you really hold something, you got it legitimately, give it to God, and He'll safeguard it for you. Okay? It's very important. When I do location blessings, I have the people that are the owners actually turn that land and property and all that they own over to God, because then He can hold it for you much better than you can. Okay? It's very important you remember that. You give Him the authority because you have the authority. It kind of works both ways. God gives you the authority, you give Him the authority. Okay? It works, but it's a two-way street, folks. Okay, that's the way that goes. And anyway, the whole emphasis on this whole plan, this thing tonight, is to try to open your eyes to understand the battles, the war that's going on around you. You can't see it. You can open your spiritual eyes. You can see a little bit. It would blow your mind if you could see what's really going on around you. Okay, if you could really see the real spiritual aspect of this universe, you would be a changed person by it. Okay, but you can still see a little bit if you try to discern things with the spiritual eyes. Okay, and see some of this stuff that's going on and understand why it's going on. That's important that you know. You won't be fooled, but let your last words that you say be, I did not cooperate. Okay, if I gotta go down, that's what I want to say. Last thing I want to say, I didn't cooperate with them. Okay, I held my own, and that's what God wants you to do. He wants you to hold your own, and He'll help you hold your own. Okay, if you let Him. And then when you got God on your side, what can you fear? There's nothing left to fear in this universe. Okay. And you know what? A lot of people say, well, what if something kills me? What if something comes along and tries to kill me? Well, if you lose your life, my friends, God has already promised you that you will gain it. Okay? It's very important you remember that. Yet, very, remain non-compliant. Fight to the end. I like that picture of that frog, that's got his hands around that bird's throat trying to swallow him. Remember that one? That's very good. Fight to the end. Okay? I did not cooperate. The least you can go down saying that, you've had the good fight, my friends. I landed a 27-inch catfish today. Sounds like some good eating out here. Absolutely. Won't you invite us over for supper there, Juno? Well, if anybody's got any more questions, anything you want to ask, now's your time to do it. We got a few minutes. We got about 15 minutes left here, and so I don't want to hear crickets out there now. Energy never dies, Millie says. Absolutely. Spiritual energy. You are never gonna die. You were created from eternity. You are eternity. You are never gonna die. That's a wonderful thing to think about, but you do want to spend that eternity in a better place. Okay. That's the main thing. But energy never dies. True spiritual energy is never gonna die. God is not a real murderer. Okay. Your physical life is temporary anyway, Well, let's have a fish fry. Yeah, there you go. Remember that scene in Avengers where Loki tells the crowd to kneel, and one old man does not. Loki tells him about because there is no man like him, and the man says, "There's always men like you." There's always people trying to get you to bow to the wrong reasons, and that's what these forces are doing. Let me say this about, and I mentioned this to Jessica today. I think it was today. The demonic is they are egotistical maniacs. They want you to worship them. They're 10-penny gods, okay? They think they are. And the fallen have been with us from the beginning. They have taken many disguises. They have appeared to be gods. Odin is not going to come help you, my friends, okay? Apollo is not going to show up to help you. Apollo is not going to hold you up. These 10-penny gods that men created and the demons took on the images are not going to help you, okay? Only one person, only one entity is for you. Only one entity has an unconditional love and mercy for you, and that is your creator. That is not Anubis, and it's not anybody like that. It is him. All the rest of them, if they were not false and made up gods, they were demons masquerading. Demons left the masquerade. I think they have masquerade balls wherever they're at. They love that stuff. They like to masquerade, especially as 10-penny gods. They are not gods. They are egomaniacs. That's what they basically are. They think they are so good and all that, but they are very badly mistaken. What do you think about the sun rising earlier than ever around the world? Well, it could not be the sun, actually. It's not the sun. It's probably the world. They say the world, that the molten core of the earth is slowing down. It revolves inside the earth. It's about the size of the moon, and it's revolving inside the earth. They say it's slowing down, and therefore may slow our time, earth time, down. You're going to see some things coming up. Like I said, and I've said this before, and I'm not just trying to blow wind here, folks, okay? There are going to things that are going to happen that are going to blow your mind. And there are going to be a lot of explanations. People may disappear. There's going to be a lot of lies, okay? We've got to cut through the lies. We've got to quit buying the lies and find the truth. We've got to find the truth and stick with it. Yeah, something not good is coming. Everybody knows that. Good night, Freaky Geek. I think it's light from the thinning veil. I told you, as I said earlier at the beginning of the program, the veil is thinning, and we are seeing what waits beyond it. Okay, but I think that is also being allowed. That we will see things that need to be seen. Okay, we're going to be given every chance that our Creator is going to give us. Okay, if we're just not stupid enough to take it, we want to take it. Okay, and not be stupid not to take it. The chances that He's going to give us. You know, our Creator has promised us something very important. He said, "I will never ever put you in a situation that I will not give you some way out of it." It's very important that you remember that. Quit buying all the natural lies for starters. Mankind is very good at lying. We don't even need the demons to do that. We lie very good on our own self. I'm always starting to look forward to just finally finding out. You're going to find out a lot of stuff. Like I said just a few minutes ago, everything that is secret, my friends, is going. God has promised us this, okay? Everything that's secret is going to be uncovered. It's coming. Absolutely. I look forward to that day myself, okay? I like what it says at the end of the book of Revelation. Even so, Lord Jesus, come quickly. I'm looking for that because everything's going to be straightened out and made straight again on that day. Until then, we're stuck with some bad stuff. Gods have been demoted to demons because of appearances. Biblical descriptions of some of the angels are horrible and terrifying. Many falsely have been mistakenly called them. A lot of times, these demons appear as the gods. It's an imagery thing, okay? And like I said, don't fall for the image. The image is very important, okay? The image is very important that you remember that. The image is will fool you. Cryptid Hunter said lots of secrets being revealed. Absolutely. We're seeing that happen right now. More and more secrets are coming out. We're being given this gift, okay? And we need to accept it, of seeing these secrets revealed to us by our Creator. I believe without a doubt. The forces of goodness are working for us. They're trying to help us out here, folks, okay? Absolutely. John Fortman said, demon face syndrome hitting the news cycle the same time for Vatican releases new guidelines for apparitions, and Harvard says aliens may already walk among us. I got news for you. The aliens are the fallen, okay? You got to remember that, and I'm going to have to do a seminar for that one night, definitely. They are the fallen. That's what these aliens are, but they're not what you think they are. They're giving you a false impression here, okay? Don't fall for it. That's what I've been saying all along. They're very good, sneaky guys at being deceitful in the way they go about these things. They're trying to twist our minds, not only our spirits, but our minds and our very fabric of our being against the truth. That's just the way they work. Be safe out there. Much love, everyone, from me and Gus. Okay, girl and gone. I'm glad you were able to be with us tonight, and I really appreciate all of you being here tonight for this seminar. Very much. It's very, very, very important to me that you showed up. You know, that's very good to know that I've got your support and a lot of this stuff. And I really, really do appreciate you being here. And don't forget, membership is now open. You can become a shadow hunter. All you gotta do is hit that button. You can be a shadow hunter with the rest of it. Official, authenticated shadow hunter. Okay, and absolutely. And don't forget, we do have some merchandise. We'll be talking about that. We have some merchandise. The seven archangels medallions are selling a hotcakes. Okay, and the necklaces. I've got them in keychains, necklaces. I got some nice little lapel pins. Um, so you might want to check into that. And Cryptid Hunter says, give Gus a big hug for me. I mean, yeah, tell Gus good night. Sleep tight. And it's become a Shadow Hunter. Hit the button, hit the bell. Thank you, Girl or Gong. I'll put that up for you. And I appreciate any of the donations that you make and all that you've helped me with. Absolutely, you helped me out tremendously. Okay, I do have some overhead costs. I do have some things going on, and you have helped me out tremendously, and I really appreciate that. I want you to know that from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it greatly. And I thank you so much for attending the seminar tonight. I hope you will take away some of the truth of this with you and you can utilize it. It will fortify your spirits against the darkness. Okay. And that's what we need to be. We don't want to be victims. Okay, folks. We want to be warriors. We want to be fighters. We don't want to comply with this stuff. We want to stand for ourselves and stand for what's right and good and love and light in this world, folks. Okay, there's too much darkness going on here. And before we leave tonight, I want to share a little prayer with you, okay, before we go out. And let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, I ask tonight that you touch every life that is here and present with us, that you will be a force in their lives for goodness, love, and light, that you will embolden their faith in you, that you will hold them in the power, peace, and protection of your hands from this time forward and into the days ahead of us. I ask that you will guard them and put a hedge around them, put the power, peace, and protection of your holy angels around them, and that you will give them guidance, spiritual guidance against the darkness that seeks to overwhelm us. Touch their spirits, their minds, their emotions, and their bodies, Lord God Almighty. Strengthen them, uphold them. In the very name of your Son and by the blood of Jesus Christ, we ask that this be done. In nomine Patris et Spiritus et Sanctus. In the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost. Amen. And I hope you go forth in what's left of the rest of this week, my friends. And I appreciate you being here tonight with me. And I really do appreciate it and look forward to our show Friday night, Paranormal Point of View. We're going to be talking about phantom felines, those big black cats, and witch cats. Okay, I think you're going to find that very interesting. We're going to get into some interesting folklore and cryptid stuff here. Okay, I like it when the cryptid and the folklore get together. Absolutely. And like I say, I appreciate all of you each individually and as a group. And I appreciate you coming tonight to my seminar. And I hope that you have a fantastic rest of the week and on into the weekend. And until we get together again, remember, Adventus, nos Adventus Quartus. That means we adventure forth. And until then, via Condias.